Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Guide to Chicago Jazz. I'm Mike Jeffers and we are back here in the studio. I know Phil's excited about being back in the studio. For those of you that saw our show last week, we took it on the road again. We were over at White Sox Park, better known as US Cellular Field. And the wind was a little strong, but we managed to walk around the ballpark, get some good footage of the ballpark, give you a little feel of spring and opening day. Unfortunately, the 40 to 50 mile an hour winds knocked out our audio and also froze Phil a little bit, but that's all right. We thawed him out. He's back over here in the studio, and we're ready to go. So this is your weekly guide to Chicago Jazz, brought to you by Chicago Jazz Magazine, the #1 resource for jazz in Chicago, and of course ChicagoJazz.com. Now I wanted to touch on a couple of things first. For those of you that have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, be sure to. It's called Chicago Jazz Music. Just go on YouTube, type in Chicago Jazz Music, and find our channel. We've got over 48 videos. Obviously, we're adding each one of these every single week. Plus, we've got a show that we're doing quarterly called Chicago Music Revealed. We interviewed Orbert Davis. And that brings us to the first show this week that we're going to cover, which is also our gig of the week, and that is Orbert Davis's Chicago Jazz Philharmonic, along with River North Dance performing Havana Blue at the Auditorium Theater. This is going to be quite the show, and if you don't have tickets, there are still tickets available as of today, which would be Tuesday when you're watching this. There's still tickets available. If you want more information on the Havana Blue show, obviously you can go to auditoriumtheater.org or chicagojazzphilharmonic.org, but also we as part of the Chicago Music Revealed show, I interviewed Orbert Davis specifically about the Havana Blues show, and that's on our homepage of chicagoJazz.com, so you can see the whole interview. Orbert explains the entire concept behind it. It's it's a really hip concept actually. The entire orchestra, rather than being in the pit, is going to be on stage equal with the dancers. And there's a lot of improvisation that's going to take place. Orbert went to Havana, went to Cuba for 10 days to research all of this. And I think it's going to be an incredible show. So that's Saturday night at 7:30 at the Auditorium Theater. You don't want to miss that. Also, in our weekly e-zine, we've got other notable gigs. I'm going to talk about a few of them in our upcoming performances, but a couple of notable gigs would be John Schofield and his Hollow Body Band is going to be at Space on April 11th. And Orbert Davis is also performing at the James Lumber Center for the Performing Arts up at the College of Lake County on Friday the 12th. And then, of course, he's got his Havana Blues show on Saturday at the Auditorium Theater. Vocalist Hinda Hoffman will also be performing on Sunday nights at Room 43. Room 43 is, of course, our friends at the Hyde Park Jazz Society. They do an incredible job every Sunday night. It's one of the most hoppinest. Is that a word? Hoppinest? No, it's not hoppinest. Hoppiness is not a word, but it is today. What the heck? It's one of the most happening. See? Happening places on Sunday night. Starts at 7:30, and Hinda Hoffman's going to have her group there at Room 43 as part of the Hyde Park Jazz Society's jazz series. Other notable gigs, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. Dave Liebman's coming to town, Kenny Garrett's coming to town, and Paris La Nuit. Paris La Nuit, I believe I'm saying that correctly. Paris La Nuit. Yes, see? He's agreeing with me. When Phil agrees with somebody, you know you're in trouble. Well, I mean, you know you're right. I knew that's what it was. She's going to be, actually, Paris La Nuit is going to be at Katerina's on Saturday night. That's a great French band. Our friends Stacy McMichael and Mario De Roca from La Percolator, they also run that band, so you can check that out at Katerina's. And, of course, Katerina's is a place that we always love to go and hang out. Also in this week's e-zine, which is right below, just go ahead and click that button and it'll take you right over to the e-zine. We've got news on the All-Star Salute to George Wine in New York City. Another topic is Jazz Journalists Association announced the 2013 nominees and Jazz Heroes. We've got all that information inside our weekly e-zine. Manchester Craftsman's Guild reveals its 2013-2014 concert series. Aaron Neville is going to be at the North Shore Center for the Performing Arts in Skokie. Birch Creek has an early concert announcement, our summer jazz camp guide that we had in the March-April issue. Birch Creek is going to have a announcement that we have actually in our e-zine about all the concerts coming up all summer. They go throughout the entire summer, so you want to make sure you read about that, especially if you're going to Michigan or Wisconsin this summer. That's a great place to visit is Door County, where Birch Creek is. The NIU Jazz Ensemble is holding its spring concert, and it's got a special guest trumpeter, Sean Jones. We're going to have information on that in our weekly e-zine. Plus, new releases, John Coltrane Quartet, the complete Sunship Sessions on Mosaic is going to be available for the first time. And so we've got a little review on that in our weekly e-zine. And then, of course, we have new releases and upcoming shows and artist profiles all throughout the e-zine. So just click on the link below, check it out. You know, we have over 90,000 reads on that e-zine since we started it just a few months ago. So there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people are loving to read it, and we thank you as our readers, and we like to think that we're giving you a lot of good information. So be sure to check all that stuff out. Okay, on to the upcoming performances this week. Upcoming performances at Andy's Jazz Club, April 12th and 13th. Our friend Bobby Lewis, the great trumpeter and good golfer, Bobby Lewis. Well, he is a good golfer. All right, so Bobby Lewis is going to be taking the stage on April 12th and 13th, 5 o'clock with his quartet. And if you haven't seen Bobby Lewis before, this is a great opportunity to see him in a intimate setting. Bobby's played all over the world with thousands of musicians. He's on thousands of recordings. He has I believe he's got 12 recordings of his own, all available at BobbyLewis.com. And so he's going to be at Andy's, 11 East Hubbard, on the 12th and 13th at 5 o'clock. And then following him each night is the Wade Baker Jazz Collaboration coming up at 9:30. So you've got two different great shows coming up at Andy's on the 12th and 13th this weekend. Also coming up at the Green Mill, one night only, Dave Liebman and his quartet. Dave Liebman and his quartet are going to be at the Green Mill at 8 o'clock Saturday night. Now, I first saw Dave Liebman when I was 20 years old at a Jamie Aebersold camp, of all places, and he inspired me to get really deep into listening to jazz and listen to jazz a different way. So if you have a chance to see Dave perform live, get to the Green Mill this Saturday night at 8 o'clock. It's something to really experience. Also coming up at the Jazz Showcase, another great saxophonist is Kenny Garrett and his quintet. Kenny Garrett and his quintet are coming to the Jazz Showcase Thursday through Sunday, Joan Wayne Siegel's Jazz Showcase, April 11th through the 14th. 2 shows each night, and of course they've got their famous Save the Kids matinee on Sunday afternoon. So you want to bring the kids down, kids 12 and under get in free. Yes, free. I know that's what my readers like to see is free. Yes. So, Jazz Showcase Sunday at 4 o'clock, and then, of course, again at 8 and 10. Kenny Garrett, the great Kenny Garrett, who toured and played with Miles Davis and millions of other jazz musicians, is finally coming to the Jazz Showcase in an intimate setting. This is your chance to see him live. I've got one jam session alert this week. Now, every single week in our e-zine, we have a jam session guide that we've put together. There are jam sessions literally every single night of the week. So if you're an upcoming musician, an aspiring musician, and you want to get out and you want to get your chops together, you want to meet musicians, there's no excuse because there's a jam session every single night that you can attend. And sit in or just hang back and listen and watch what's going on, kind of get a feel for what's happening. There's a new one happening at Manhattan's American Bar and Grill, which is in Carroll Stream, which is being run by Bruce Oscar and Nick Schneider. And that's going to be every Wednesday night at 7:30 at Manhattan's American Bar and Grill. Of course, one Friday a month at the Milrose Restaurant in Barrington, Nick Schneider, Bruce Oscar, and myself, I'm going to be on that, This coming April 19th, we're going to be at the Milrose Restaurant at 7 o'clock for a jam session. So come on out, singers welcome, vocalists, musicians of all types, sizes, whatever you need to do. Come on out, we'd love to see you, love to say hi to you. Of course, Bruce Oscar is the famous Bruce Oscar from WDCB, the afternoon shift. And Nick Schneider is the famous Nick Schneider of being Nick Schneider, because Nick Schneider's played with everybody. So if you don't know Nick Schneider, it's a great opportunity to come out and meet everybody. The Milrose Restaurant in Barrington, April 19th. Okay, that's going to do it for our upcoming shows and for our different things. Now, I got an email this week, and I always share questions and share emails with people. I got an email this week that I get emails like this regularly. Now, I'm sure a lot of you that know me, that read the magazine and stuff, figure that it's all just, wonderful things coming in all the time. But unfortunately, most of the time, most of the critique, most of the information and the wonderful emails I get are not so good. And it's always somebody complaining about something, having a bad day, and they decide to take it out on me. And so this particular person, who I'm not going to mention his name, although I would love to, I'm not going to, but I just wanted to give you a taste of what the problem is with email, if you ask me. Because if somebody called me up and talked to me like this, that would be one thing. But when somebody emails in and hides behind an email, they tend to think that they can say whatever they want and there's no consequences. What's happened to this person is we've taken him off the mailing list, we've taken him off the email list, we've completely cut ties with him, and he is finished as far as we're concerned in the Chicago Jazz Magazine world. But I just wanted to just give you an idea of what this was. I sent out an e-blast for our good friend Steve Maxwell, his vintage drum company, and Steve supports jazz like you would not believe in the city. He supports it. He does a monthly sponsorship of a Wednesday night show at this Jazz Showcase. He obviously makes incredible drums. He has a museum, a vintage drum museum. Everything is jazz related with Steve. Steve has the top of the line jazz drum sets, top of the line jazz cymbals, top of the line everything. And we put an e-blast together for him to send out because obviously we want to make sure people know that he's got a shop in Naperville with a drum museum in it. And he's also going to be out at the Kane County Drum Festival that's coming up. We're going to have more information about that coming up in the next couple weeks. So we sent that out, and I got an email back, and I just want to read a couple of pieces of this because I want people to be aware of how rude certain people are in the world. It's a shame, and you wouldn't think that it would be in the jazz industry, but of course, nothing is different than anything else. So. Hello, this is a major misuse of your mailing list. Where is the mention of an associated concert or clinic at the shop? Of course, at the bottom of the email, it talks about how Steve supports the WDCB night at the Jazz Showcase one night a month and sponsors it so that there's no cover charge. But this person apparently didn't read all the way to the bottom. As far as I can determine, there isn't any, and therefore it's quite obvious that you are morphing into a spammer. Now, do I look like a spammer, folks? I look like a lot of things, I'm sure, to a lot of people, but I don't think I look like a spammer. I hope not. I don't even know what a spammer looks like. I imagine they'd probably be down in a bunker somewhere getting weird, doing hundreds of millions of e-blasts a day. So I don't think I'm a spammer. I appreciate the notices about the bona fide jazz events, but if you're degenerating into a whore who spews bull, you know what? For anybody willing to pay your fee, that's unfortunate and a definite loss to the jazz scene in Chicago. Now, just digest what that sentence was. Do you think somebody would call me up and say this? Do you? If they did, I'd be impressed. I'd probably hang up on them, but I'd be impressed that they actually called me up. But anybody can hide behind an email, can't they? And say stuff like this. And I have no problem taking criticism. I have no problem having people call me up, email me, hey Mike, I read this article, I don't quite agree with the angle of it, I like your online TV show, why can't you cover this person and this person? That's normal, that's professional, that's human. This is You use the words. I don't know. I don't know what this is, but this isn't human, I'll tell you that. And this is no way to talk to somebody, and this is no way to send an email in to a jazz magazine that is promoting the jazz scene relentlessly for over 11 years and spending hours and hours of time doing it. So, I don't know who this guy thinks he's talking to. This is the best part, though. So after that, okay, after the BS and all that stuff, here's his next sentence. This is meant as constructive criticism. Oh, wait, hey, no problem. Hey, Mike, when you're playing that drum groove, you might want to just slow it down a touch. That's constructive criticism. You're degenerating into a whore. Don't think that's constructive criticism. I think that's an attack. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's a little more than attack, but we'll leave it at that. So it's just constructive criticism. I would be willing to bet that I am not the only one who has this same reaction to this bogus email today. Bogus email, okay. Please reconsider your spewing of this type of spam message for stores' products that have no real relevance to what your service is providing all along. I have no idea what this guy has been reading, what he's been doing, where he's been. But Steve Maxwell's Drum Shop has every single bit to do with the jazz community and the jazz magazine, and I'm proud that it is. And I'm proud to have businesses like Steve Maxwell, like Delmark Records, like Andy's Jazz Club, like the Jazz Showcase, helping to support the Chicago Jazz Magazine. Because without them, there wouldn't be a Chicago Jazz Magazine, there wouldn't be ChicagoJazz.com, there wouldn't be this online TV show, which maybe that's a good thing to some of you. I don't know. There wouldn't be the E-Blast. There wouldn't be the ability to do all the stuff that we do at the jazz festivals. And without the musicians in Chicago, there wouldn't be the ability to do any of that. And without you, the jazz fans, there wouldn't be an ability to do any of that. So if you're going to write emails like this, I would suggest get your facts straight, really think about what you're doing, who you're attacking, and absolutely, let's get a little more professional. Okay. Just wanted to do that, I hope. Got to get it off my chest. It doesn't bother me at all, but I wanted to put that out there for people because I want people to understand, who's out there in cyberspace sometimes, and unfortunately, it's not all positive. But I'm going to leave you on a positive note. Next week, we are going to be out on location. I believe we're going to go and do some more filming. We've got another episode of Chicago Music Revealed coming up in the next few weeks. And also, here's the big news. Big news alert. Do we have a sign? Maybe I'll point there and maybe we'll have a sign. Oh, that looks great, Phil. That is a nice sign. Big news alert. ChicagoJazz.com is going to be revamped and redone, and it looks like we're going to go live at the end of April, the last weekend of April, with a whole new website. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have lots of information on that coming up. It's going to look awesome. I've seen all the prototypes. We're starting to mess with it. It's all tied into social media. And so get ready for that. And until next week, have a great week, and I hope to see you somewhere out on the scene.